Now, Central Oregon's local alert weather with Eric Oren.
Well, happy Wednesday to you, Central Oregon. We're starting off with a look today at current conditions in Bend and also in Redmond. We are expecting quite a windy day today, and you can see winds have already picked up to the 15-mile-an-hour range here in both areas. Temperature well above freezing. We're into the 50s here early this morning. May see a little bit of a dip down, but we're not going to get to that freezing threshold most likely here this morning, so no concern out there early for slippery roads. But speaking of road conditions, let's take a look at what we're dealing with out there. As we do have a slight chance for some early precipitation. You can see potentially some wet roads in Prineville, maybe a little bit in Madras there as well. But as I mentioned to you, we are well above the freezing line, so it's less likely that that's freezing precipitation. There's a small chance we'll see some fluctuating visibilities out there, but we will certainly keep our eyes on those conditions here this morning. Look at Redmond at Highland Avenue looking west, and you can see here fairly clear, and the temperatures looking warm at 57 degrees, so no concern there either for slippery roads. Here's some weather headlines for you today. The mild pattern in place is still with us, at least for a little while longer. We're going to see another mild day today. A chance of rain with us early this morning, and then also returning to the forecast later this afternoon. It's a fairly slight chance, but a chance nonetheless, and we will see temperatures cooling down as we make our way to the weekend. We're expecting things to return to a more average range, probably. We were expecting it to be Thursday. That's tomorrow, but now it's looking like it's going to be probably Friday. We're going to stay fairly mild until the weekend. Now here's a look at the satellite and radar. We are mild, like I just said to you, so some of this activity we're seeing on this satellite radar picture, activity over Central Oregon here, is actually probably not going to make it to the ground. We're probably going to evaporate before it actually gets to us. We are expecting things to be pretty dry today. As I mentioned, it's not completely true, as there is a chance we're going to see some precipitation early and also again later on, but wanted to show you that activity as there's quite a bit going on coastally. Let's take a look at future wind gusts. That's the other story today. Winds are going to be fairly active. You can see as of early this morning, already up in the mountains near 50-mile-an-hour winds, and this is gusts that we're looking at, not sustained winds, although sustained winds are going to be fairly strong today as well. Now by the midday point, we're still looking fairly active in the 20 to 30-mile-an-hour range and staying active up in the Cascades as well, 47 miles an hour. And then by this evening, really not a whole lot of change. We're looking at a potential for things to die down a little bit overnight tonight into the early morning, but man, we're staying fairly active. So expect winds to be a factor here today and overnight into tomorrow. Just something to be well aware of. There's also a high wind warning in place in the viewing areas just to our south. It overlaps with a high wind advisory. Generally speaking, gusts near 60 miles an hour are expected, and it's going to create travel issues, possibility for power outages as unsecured objects are blowing around and falling into power lines. Certainly hazardous, and that's all expiring tonight at 10 p.m. in these areas here highlighted in blue. Let's take a look at your forecast highs locally today. We see more of these mild temperatures. We actually have a little bit more of this on the way before things start to cool down this weekend. You can see here the 40s and 50s here on the high desert. Fairly mild, fairly warm day today. Also wanted to show you your overnight lows. No real concern for freezing temperatures, except for potentially in La Pine there in the southern parts of the county. So we may get a little bit colder than this map is showing, but it's looking like we're going to be above that freezing line for the most part. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast here. Some slight chances for precipitation. Maybe some mixed precipitation Thursday going into Friday as this cold front brings in some cooler air. But over the weekend and into next week, a little bit of a break before more chances for precipitation. That's been a look at your local alert weather.